Hey, GutFoxx here. It's Sunday and you know what that means, Mailbag Day. The sponsor today are sushi restaurants and what restaurants become when they can't afford to fix their oven. So, we got one question today. What are your thoughts on Madden 15? Final review of the game after 1 year playing it? Well, if you're going to have a beer with your friends and play a game, it's a good one to grab. Not as good as FIFA or NHL though, because there's only one quarterback on offense. Defense is better with multiple people though. It's also not as good as Minecraft with people on the Xbox or other games. And the lack of team play means you can't play with multiple friends over the internet. So, Madden with friends, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. But as a single player game, the connected franchise mode is actually pretty bad. Its lack of features and simple depth maybe moved to mud. There has been limited to no improvements in recent years. The drafted players look weird, their stats don't make sense. Head Coach 2009 is still the gold standard for football simulations. I tried Football Mogul on the computer and some others that were not as good as Head Coach. There is a huge market out there for simulation fans. I was excited/fearful when Madden 10 absorbed the Head Coach developers into their game. It would have been my dream to have franchise mode like Head Coach, but actually able to play on the field like Madden. Well, I dreamed a dream that never came through. I was furious when I saw the next year's game and how garbage the franchise mode was. I could tell the influence from Head Coach were limited to the drafted players having the same names as the ones from the year before in Head Coach's mode when it moved to Madden. That was a nice touch, but underwhelming to say the least. They wasted a perfectly good studio making a perfectly good game. Madden has destroyed more football games in the last 15 years than we've had good presidents. And don't tell me there isn't a market out there. Football Manager is the most pirated game on earth. And that's a soccer simulation for those who don't know. I played probably 100 hours of it. It's a great game. If an American football simulation came out, that would garner a lot of fans. And don't tell me Madden doesn't have the developer time to make their game more simulation. How much cash does it take to make a football sim? I currently know of 10 baseball sims out there with 1 to 2 man development teams. And there are just amazing ones out there like Out of the Park Baseball and Baseball Mogul. I spent hundreds if not thousands of hours on those games. People like being a general manager. Give it to them, not the basic bitch we have now in Madden's connected franchise. So, I'll rate Connected Franchise Mode a 5 out of 10. We'll move on to 2 other game modes, MUT and Online Head-to-Head. Unfortunately, I can't speak to Online Head-to-Head because I've only played 3 games there all year and hope to play less this year. But it seems pretty good if you want a more NFL feel with all the teams having holes except for the Seahawks. But I guess the biggest problem with Head-to-Head that isn't there in MUT is the lack of diversity in uniforms and teams. Even though MUT did seem to have a lot of cowboy uniforms, and the players in each team were very similar, like 4th of July RG3 or Vic, or Cam early in the year, and Kelvin Johnson was on every team it seemed. But in Online Head-to-Head, if you were a Cleveland fan, you were SOL if you wanted to be competitive. And if you had a team that had a bad defensive line or linebackers and went against the Cowboys, you knew you were in for a treat of a game on the ground. And on to Madden's crowning achievement and their revenue-generating King Midas of a mode, MUT. The biggest problem with Madden Ultimate Team is that players get too good near the end of the year and the game is not played the way it was tested. Kelvin Johnson and other tall, really good wide receivers made streaks overpowered. But we'll get to gameplay shortly. MUT itself, where there's an auction house and you can scheme and get whatever cards you want, is truly a great mode. The developers did a fabulous job with keeping it interesting and exciting through the year. It's the most fun and addicting time I've had in Madden in years. MUT is a 10 out of 10. Gameplay. If you play against someone who doesn't know Nanos, Suction Glitch, PA End Around, and the others, this game is amazing. The on-the-field gameplay is superb. Any level below all Madden 1 is really an enjoyable game. Unfortunately, at a high level in this game, it isn't very fun. But what game at the highest level of competitiveness is objectively fun? Most things at the highest level is more work than fun. There were quite a few bugs that were annoying too, but again, if your opponent doesn't know them, it's a good game. Overall gameplay, I'd give a 9.2 out of 10. The sound. Terrible commentators and music. Watch something on TV while playing for a better experience. 5 out of 10. Overall, I think the Madden developers are doing a really nice job of replicating the NFL game on the field, with the exception of some things, like the effectiveness of certain plays run over and over again. But they focus so much of their efforts on making the game as photorealistic as possible. Could that be the issue? Is there such a thing as too much focus on the field gameplay? Probably not. But if they could divert some energy away from everyone's face being in the game and focus on franchise and career mode, that'd be great. They see that everyone wants realistic NFL football. They don't see that people want it realistic from an NFL general manager or player point of view. EA should embed 2 employees in front offices around the league and have one follow around the player and interview those close to them and get a realistic portrayal of what it's like to be a player in the NFL. Put that in the game to make the franchise mode better, and you'd have a wonderful, well-rounded product. Overall, after giving the definitive review of Madden 15 and a year's worth of gameplay, hundreds of hours, I'll give it an 8.9 out of 10, a fairly high score for a fairly good game. Alright, thanks for watching. Call to action. I will see you tomorrow.